So welcome traders to price tip number 3, which is absolutely works well in super combination with price tip number 2. So make sure you absolutely go back and look at that video if you haven't already seen it. So price tip number 3 is all about a key concept called the stretch. So what is the stretch, I hear you ask? So the stretch is what we class as the nearest extreme to the open. What does that mean? So the nearest extreme to the open is basically whether the high or the low of the bar is closest to the open. Which one is the nearest extreme to the open? So I will give you an example. On this bar over here, you can see quite clearly that the high is here and the low is here. The open is here. Which one is the nearest extreme to the open? Well, of course, in this case, it is the high. This extreme from the open to the high is less of a distance away than actually what the open to the low is. So in this case, the stretch is in this part of the bar. Okay? Let's now look at the next bar. So you can see that this is a seller bar, this is a buyer bar. Does the stretch change? Well, absolutely yes it does, because again, look here. The high of the bar is here, the low is here. Here's the open. Which one in this bar is the nearest extreme to the open? Well, it is, of course, the open to the low. This part of the bar here is the stretch. So this is a very important concept to understand, and you have to really think about it. Go back and look, as I said, at price tip number 2 as well. Combine these two together, you'll be able to formulate a very clever strategy with a couple of bits more of information. So knowing this, taking this all into account, we formulate the stretch. Now, sometimes you may see the stretch referenced to as maybe something like this, stretch 10, which basically means you're taking an average of 10 bars of the stretch of 10 bars, so you're taking these distances, the closest extreme to the opens, for 10 bars, and you're getting an average of them, so you're understanding what ST10 is. So let's now go on to some key statistics about the stretch, which you can then look at and understand in this table, which will give you some very, very important information. So now we're looking at a table of the different percentages of how often each type of stretch can occur for GBP USD daily bars. So we asked ourselves a question here. We asked the question, how many pips is the stretch for 80% of the GBP USD daily bars? So in this example on the whiteboard, we can see that 39% of bars on GBP USD daily over a sample of 2031 bars, 39% have a stretch that is 20 pips or less. Now, we then went on to ask how many of those bars will then have a stretch of 40 pips or less, and the answer here is 70%. Then we went on to ask, okay, so what is it for 80% of GBP USD daily bars? And we found that a stretch of 50 pips or less occurred 81% of the time. So this is quite a large amount of percentage for us to be able to then ascertain what we can do in terms of using a stop loss or an entry order. You really need to think about this, because you've now got a very important statistic which is talking to you about what the closest extreme from the open is 81% of the time. And we're telling you that it can be used for both the stop loss and the entry orders. So very, very useful information. But again, it really needs some thought. So sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, draw this out and see what it really means to you.
We trust you enjoyed our Traders Education Center tech video. To unlock the full tech modules for free, click on the link below and hit the subscribe button. Then go ahead to register with your contact details and create your unique username and password to enjoy the fully unlocked tech modules.